What is going on, YouTube world? Steve, Vinny, I'm Dave. This is the Instant Revolution podcast, episode number 75. Tonight, touch on a little of the group breaking type drama. It isn't all just new. If you think it's new, please pull yourself out from under the rock, because it's been going on pre-video. It's been going on forever. Anytime there's a time and place to get money, shenanigans will occur. So you look at it with stocks and like insider trading, it happens. It's the same way here. That's why you sort of have to pick and do your due diligence to figure out which breaker you want to use. If they've got a track record, they don't have any blemishes, and if they do, it's like something completely minor. I know Hobbybox Chris had stuff early on, a couple things here and there, but nothing where it was like, oh my god, something egregious like, oh, you pulled a Trevor Lawrence gold kaboom. Well, you know you're not getting that. That's in a different spot, and then you can't change the rules as you go. You have to have the blueprint or your blueprint to begin with. But I digress. How are you fellas doing tonight?
Shitty.
Delightful. Driving's good.
What, Dave, you didn't like my one-word answer? I mean, come on. It's been a crappy few weeks. It hasn't changed. One positive note for those who may or may not remember, I have been going to multiple doctor's appointments and things along those lines. I did have my echocardiogram yesterday. I finally did get a call from the tech today, letting me know that all is A-okay from that perspective. For those who don't know what an echocardiogram is, it's just like a freaking sonogram, but it's just of your heart. So they measure all the chambers and the valves and, all that kind of fun stuff. But cardiologist said all is good. So that's a positive thing that did come out of yesterday. Still have to deal with the whole dermatologist. That comes up in February, at least the first appointment. And then hopefully some of this other crap will be taken care of at some point in the near future. So, yeah, that's the only good thing so far. I think I'm one for like 30-something so far in auctions stemming from like the end of last year. So that's always good. My hobby goals are looking real good. They're looking real good. Granted, at least it's just January, so I still have a while. And yes, before you ask, Dave, one card in. I will show it on video. I was hoping to do a video today and just didn't get around to it because a certain individual and follower of the IRP, who happens to be in the room, Mr. Paul, at Collecting Oil on Instagram, sent me a care package sitting right here. And he has specifically requested that I do a YouTube video. So I want to make sure I do that for him. Sorry, Paul. Like I said, I wanted to get to it today and just the day kind of went to shit. But this week, I promise. And before I forget, most people don't do this, but during the show last week, I realized I misspoke in relation to a specific card being listed incorrectly, trying to claim it was something that it wasn't. And I kept saying it was 95 Fleer metal. It is 96 Fleer metal, not 95. 95 did not have precious metals. 96 was the first introduction of them. And Dave and I both kind of screwed up. The PM is not a prefix. It comes actually at the end of the card number. So whatever the card number is, the PM is actually beneath it. So I wanted to at least clarify incorrect information because we don't like to do that. Sometimes we do make mistakes. Unfortunately, it does happen. But we will own up to them, and we will make sure that we clarify and correct our misspoken information. So that's been weighing on my mind for a week.
At least it wasn't a $10,000 mistake.
This is true. And at the end of the day, it was something that, I wasn't going to go after anyways, and or provide advice for such card anyways. But it's one of those in which it's all about trying to be upfront in the event that you do misquote something or provide misinformation. So I at least wanted to get that out there. So, hey, if G.I. Joe metal thing becomes a thing, I don't know. It could be the next big thing for, $3.5 million mistake. In a nutshell, that's not incorrect either. Very true, Bobby. Very true.
And Vinny, how are you?
Delightful. Recovering from a wicked sinus infection. Head's clogged.
Oh,
That's all I heard myself do for the last 4 days.
well,
Mouth breather.
Which he is anyways, but maybe not as bad.
Yeah, because my sinuses are always jacked. Better half's been under the weather. So it's been a fun time at the Vinny household. He got a concussion a week ago. She went and dove on a ball, and I was up in the mezzanine, and she's on top of the ball, and the girl kicked the ball out, and then kicked her right square in the head. And I come flying down, and better half comes flying down. They got to do a better job. But if the goalie's on top of the ball and you kick the goalie when they have said ball, that's a yellow card.
no, that should be.
That could be, or depending on how flagrant it would be, it could be a red card. But the problem was the overzealousness of said coach from the other team. Get the ball, get the ball. You need to chill, dude. The ball is underneath our goalie, namely my kid. Stop kicking.
Well, it becomes a dead ball anyways.
Exactly. But
once the ball is protected by the goalie, it is a dead ball. It is off limits.
Thank you.
Period.
Well, the best one was earlier in the year. We were playing turf, and same thing. She's on top of the ball. They kick the ball, kick her, and then kick the ball in the net, and they count it as a goal. I'm like, do you guys read books? Do you qualify to be a ref, or can I just wear a yellow shirt here and it's some tight spandex, and which you do not want to see me in, but I'll go there.
I don't want to see you in it either.
I know you don't. I don't want to see myself in it. But come on, guys, let's get to the getting here. Protect the goalie is often in soccer they're the hero or the zero, as Steve said many times. And
speaking from experience.
But she played a half a game because she's coming back from the concussion. She did a half a game Saturday. She had a clean sheet, so her side of the fence was clean. They tied 1-1. So,
Bobby, that is a very interesting question and can be answered in a multitude of ways. It depends. If you dive and catch the ball and actually end up in the goal, guess what? That's a goal.
Yeah.
It's kind of the same aspect, I guess, in hockey to a degree. The ball technically only has to break the line.
Yep.
Just by a millimeter. So now that doesn't mean that because of referee placement at the time, doesn't mean you can't knock a ball out of the middle of the goal that's not buried in the back and have it not be called a goal, as long as it doesn't go in the net. So, no, that should be a red card and like never play soccer ever again type situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
No. I would give myself the red card if there was like a neon flaming red, never again with sirens around it. I'd give it to myself. No, we never want to see that.
Like I said, by definition, if the goalie has control of the ball in hands, you know, on top of it, whatever, if it is in their possession, it is supposed to be a dead ball. It doesn't matter if, well, it's not supposed to matter if for any reason they end up getting the ball away from goalie who has possession of the ball and kicks it in the net. That should, there's a problem if that actually persists. In all the years I've played when I was younger in goal, I only had 2 situations in which I went for a ball. Bottom line is goalie box is your domain. If you're a goalie, the goalie box is yours. It doesn't matter. So if you run to try and almost scare the attackers, so to speak,
Yep.
and you kind of slide and like take the ball away from them, you have the right to do that. That's your spot. Now you can't like go run and like lower your shoulder and take them out. I mean, you can't do that. But I've only had 2 times in which I've ran to take possession of a ball and actually get kicked because by rule it's dead. It's no more. You're supposed to stop. Now, if you have a good coach, you don't tell your team to stop. The only difference is you don't tell them to like kick the ball and when it's in the goalie's possession. I've only been kicked in the face once, and it was by accident. It's one of those in which sometimes you can tell when things are done, intentional, and other times, accident. But having being kicked in the face was bad, but having possession of a soccer ball in your gut and having somebody like kick it a few times while it's in your gut, that's quite painful. It's not pleasant. And they got a yellow card just for the record, because it's supposed to be a dead ball. The only difference is they don't ever like whistle stuff. That's the problem. If the refs would actually whistle and things like that, then it would indicate a stoppage of play.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, they don't do that in soccer, and I've never understood why. But
pro level, the games that I've gone to with the club that we're associated, the pro team, as soon as that goalie has a ball, it's dead. And if you pull anything, the cards come. They protect the goalies, and I give them credit because, like I said, those goalies are sort of defenseless, and
They're also a little psycho.
yeah, goalies are a little crazy. C's not all there when it comes to that. So, I mean, I would have balls shot at me, and I'm gonna bat them down and get a wrist broken. Let's see, she's had a wrist broken, her nose broke, and now the concussion in the past 3 years. So she's had the trifecta. Huh?
So we'll be injury free for the rest of her.
Yep. So good. We got all of them down early. So no more for the rest of her career. We should be good.
Yeah, hopefully there's no more. again, that's like you said, it's part of the not a part you want to have happen, or you have the expectation that there is the possibility for, especially in the head region, since you're not wearing a helmet, there's no face mask. There will be some sort of bumps, bites, and bruises. So hopefully, the most serious of all those is well out of the way. It's just is in the past, and if there's anything, it's just scrapes or cuts or something from cleats or whatever, and running into somebody or whatever. Not somebody getting shouldered and trucked out there, and where Vinny becomes the Incredible Bulk and rips off his shirt and reveals his green spandex and rushes to that pitch. So, and if that does happen, God, I hope somebody's got a fucking video camera.
I'm sure the better half will capture that.
Capture that Christmas card moment.
Learn the buttons, Vinny. Learn the buttons.
Yeah, this is a couple weeks in a row. This isn't like a 800 key.
He didn't hear me though. That's the problem.
Huh? What?
Exactly.
Squirrel? Where? I got better half over here talking in the other ear. I gotta do double duty here.
I just reminded you. Learn the buttons. Learn the buttons.
I was going to ask too. Steve said, with his luck recently with cards. What about you, Vinny? Any luck as of late? Before we delve into the topic a little bit, and
Saturday, I thought I got nailed 2 of them and figured out I already had one because I forgot to mark it off my list. So it's a duplicate, which really ticked me off because I don't particularly like the card, but I needed it.
You broke a rule. You broke a rule.
But it was an accident.
Unknowingly.
Excuses, excuses.
But I only paid $12 for it, so it's still a nice card. So
yeah, it's not like $100. Whoops!
Yeah,
it's
oops.
$12.
Even.
What's going on, LA Pets?
But other than that, I've been very selective. I'm keeping to the goals, and I'm trying to keep it that way. No duplicates. I'm trying to really go by the book this year. I'm staying laser focused.
For now.
Till I see a squirrel. And it's got a really nice duplicate attached to it.
Yeah, it's been, I think now 3 of those mask ones I've showed that are in the box or have the box with them have sold. And I'm like, how does this happen? Again, it's not because I said I'm finally going after this shit. But all of a sudden, you put 3 on the watch list or whatever, and within the first 3 weeks of the year, 3 of them are gone. And I mean, they weren't up for like $50 or whatever. They were $2.99, $2.99, and $1.99. This was some coinage. So I watched today. I don't know if you remember, Vinny, the SP Authentic, the triple auto with Gomez and I think Gianta. I think it's Gianta, number to 25. That thing went for $245.
Wow.
So that's about a 2 times or 2x, as the youth of America say today, in under a year. Because I think I got that last April. That was about I think it's like 125 plus whatever shipping and tax and all that shit. But I thought I was like, oh, maybe if it stays low or whatever, I'll make a run. Like I forgot about it, came back to it, and I'm like,
Oh,
really? Okay. So yeah, the Brodeur stuff has been really, really lean. I don't even know. I can honestly say I don't even know if I've looked at eBay today for his stuff, and it's 7:40 Central Time. That is insane. There's been a bunch of stuff that's been going off like incrementally during the day, so I've been just sort of watching the watch and the bid list. I've picked up a few DVDs over the last week or so. One card, I showed the guys earlier. One card came in. I got a couple AEW things that came in. Those are super slow too because it's just too much. Again, I equate the value of getting a card to meeting these guys in person and knowing full well what they would charge for like a meet and greet. I can meet somebody, get my picture with them, and have them sign an 8x10 for between 20 and $50, depending like on if they're a lower tier, mid tier. If it's like a Flair, Sting, Taker, Lesnar, Rock, whatever, you know you're gonna pay more. Those are icons. Those are big names that transcend the sport. But like Lance Archer, I've met him twice. I'm not paying $150 for an auto. Even if it's numbered to 5, I'm not doing it. That's just not going to happen. It's a hodgepodge of mostly stuff up until or up through the 2003-2004 season. Eric, I've got my list. More so, that's just a list of things I don't have. After the first probably 3 pages, I'd have to start twisting a little more because as I got into like the SP Authentic years, I found more of the like stuff with WA, stuff numbered like 10 autos and whatnot that I'd like to pick up, but at the same time, the way everything keeps on going, it's going to be difficult. And then being 20 plus years or 18 years past a release date, a lot of that stuff is locked up in collections or just forgotten about. So the worst saying or the worst phrasing in the world, it is what it is. You can't be pissed about something like that where it's like, I'd have a chance or would have had a chance to get it back in the day, but at the same time, those things were just so out of reach. I have trouble spending, even with some of the stuff that's been over the last few years. Most of that's been because I've turned cards that I've had that have gotten hot. I've sold them and recycled that money back into the collection. There's very few things that I'd spend, quote unquote, my own money, my earned money on that are over like $200. It's the Vince Lombardi cut auto. That was always one that, you're not going to go wrong. That's, if I could have found a Chamberlain, that was another guy I looked for during that time period, and there's just nothing that comes up. but I'm not going to spend $600 on some sort of brodeur insert out of pocket. I'd have to make another sale or something of that nature to at least supplement where I felt like, okay, even if I sold 400, cost 6, I'm like, okay, 200, I can do that in my head. But yeah, inserts, serial numbered, parallels, whatever. I halfway know what I need, more or less. If I see stuff, it's like, okay, I don't think I've got it. I can double check, or I can be like, I know I've got it. Or it's like, I know, especially if it's one of those top 20, top 30 cards. It's like, after a while, those become ingrained in the brain that you're just like, I know I need that. You don't even have to like go back to some reference and be like, I'm unsure of myself. No, you, especially if you've lost it multiple times on auction, you're like, fuck this cocksucker. I know I need this piece of shit. Get it to me now. I don't fucking care what it costs. I'm tired. So it I'm not a Dallas guy where I'm like I can sit down and throw thousands of dollars. It may look like it at times. Yeah, absolutely. You let me know, Eric. That I'll always look. That I might not get back to you within an hour or two, but
or a day or two. Where did that come from? Vinny, did you say that?
I'm talking to the dog.
Oh, then it had to be the dog then. The dog is learning, man. Look out, folks.
Hi, Dry.
But in lieu of like the brodeur, the one I showed.
Be nice.
I remember picking up the mirror black regular off of I think a Facebook group, the one-on-one group that was on or still is on Facebook. What is this, 15? 14. So it might have been it was 14. Yeah, it might have been that summer of 14. And I think it was like $50, and then there was like the Donruss Elite Status Black 101. I think I picked up 50 or 60, and that might have been my hiatus from the wonderful world of Facebook. And I think Michael, this film not yet rated. Hey, he's like messaging me. Hey, this guy's got it up for 50. You want it? I said if he message him, see if he'll go lower, and if he doesn't, yeah, whatever. Who cares? It's just get it out of the way. It's McCown. He doesn't have a lot of non-plate 101s. There's a handful, couple handfuls, but it's not like Mahomes. You have a 101 in every insert, every parallel, every insert parallel. Whatever it is, you've got 101s until your butt bleeds. So it's
all right, Dave. Since you're throwing out 101s, and I said I'd share this in the video, so I'm going to go ahead and share this just because I can. I'm not going to let you get all the fun.
Your favorite color of plate too.
Yep. So of course this is pulled out of 2019 plates and patches, but it's from 2019 certified. Raise the banner insert black plate. Oh, upside down. Hope I had it the right way. I'm not a fan of this type of numbering though.
No.
I thought I'd throw that out there. But nonetheless, it's another one of one to add to the collection. I think this now takes me over 40, I think. So fairly good milestone, if you ask me. And it was reasonable. However, as I alluded to, I think last week, I wish I could have kicked myself in the ass because I let another black plate go from National Treasures, collegiate, but it was another black plate that sold for really cheap. So that one hurt. But it is what it is. So I've at least gotten one pickup for 2020. I still have 149 cards left to go to reach my goal. So I still got a long way to go. No, appreciate it, guys. So not too bad considering your first pickup of the year is a 101.
Yeah.
So yes, Vinny.
I'm already seeing that I'm gonna have a problem getting to my main list because none of it has memorabilia. All I keep seeing are memorabilia cards, but I don't have them. So at a point where I get past the 12 memorabilia cards that I said I wanted to get, I'm gonna have to eat into the regular whatever I said goal for regular cards because the stuff I want on my list just isn't popping. I like my dogs. They're all. Why can't you be like him? He's quiet. Go outside. Don't argue with me. Go outside.
Guess he just wanted to pop in and say hi to everybody.
There's 7
Probably
inches
down.
of snow and it's like 10 degrees out there. You're in your glory. You're a husky. That's what you're supposed to do. You even blend in with the snow because you're white. You don't have any spots.
Dave, you're falling down on your job, by the way. 32 minutes in.
I know. I knew our sponsor because I'd seen you drink it a couple times. Waiting for the segue in there. And
It's all right. It's all right, Dave. Question to Vinny.
Oh, so much. Just I'm working on getting the stuff in a spreadsheet like I had it. Like I said a couple weeks ago, it was probably the goals episode. I had it all in a spreadsheet on my on a Mac, this computer here, and then I didn't use this computer for like 8 months, and my Apple password when I went to put it in, I changed it on my phone, but I never changed it on here. And I didn't remember what the old one was. I usually write it down, but I didn't this time. And I went to log in here and I couldn't remember what it was. So my buddy Raj had to go in there and we did a factory reset and got this thing fired up, but I lost my spreadsheet. So now I have to recreate it. But this one, for the time being, I'm only recreating what I need as far as wants, which are in a little book that's falling apart. So I got almost all the stuff in it. I have to put in Pacific and like the off brands of Upper Deck. And then I should have it pretty close to done. Then there's the oddball cards and in the game stuff. Well, I appreciate that, Eric. Because I got a lot of stuff. I just have to find. It's like Dave said, it's all about the price. Because I've been watching stuff. It's, the one that still kills me is the Golden Touch that I could have got for $25, and I digress. It's just painful, and I could relive that constantly. But that's the big one I'm hunting down. That's probably one of my top ones from 12-13. I got everything else, so I just want
Well,
that one to polish it off.
I was gonna throw out. I want 101 Gretzky's and 101 Crosby's, but I don't want to pay for them. I want you to send them to me. Like you buy them and you send them to me. Does that count?
Yeah.
Hey, it's worth a try, right? You can't blame the guy for trying. Just throwing it out there. No, eventually I will have the side PC when it comes to. That's nice.
Frankie Frisch.
Is it numbered to 3? Haha, 3-3.
So old habits die hard. I don't even know if I was looking for it's now my saved search because all the other stuff got taken away with when eBay did away with the categorizing of like hockey cards. It just went to like the fabric of the game cards or sports cards. So I'm like, well, whatever. I found a bunch of stuff I've liked. A lot of it has jumped to beyond insane levels. Those the 02 or 03 ones, I've got some of them, but the autograph ones are just out of this world priced now.
It's people have come to realize that game used cards actually are pretty damn cool, man.
Well, this is true, but this shit should have been. And it took us a while for that to even like. Well, not that this is just the game used, but that, hey, the Texas Rose, where the fucking Joe Green or John Stallworth, Jack Lambert, Bart Starr, Joe Namath, any of these guys from the 60s, 70s, and preceding them. That shit should have been on our radar. And like, you know what? Leaf and Playoff, Donruss, man, they are. I love their products, but it's like every year there's a Steve Largent patch. There's a Fred Biletnikoff patch. I mean, how many of these are going to go around? I mean, you can only drum up so many jerseys, and at some point you're like, you know what? I want to keep a couple jerseys intact. I mean, by now there's enough out there that people will fight over, but and again, that's something you always look for. The Hall of Fame shit, fabric of the game, national treasures. Those will always be two brands that I always am searching for. It's not a surprise. These aren't tales I'm telling out of school. It's stuff that if you go back, instead of looking at the videos from the last 6 months, if you go back 2, 3, 4 years, literally, that's all you're seeing. Every 30-minute mail day video is like a showcase or two at a card shop or card show. And that's not just me blowing smoke up my own ass. You're seeing Randy Moss patches, you're seeing Elway autos, you're seeing Marino patches, you're seeing a lot of stuff that's fun. Just fun stuff where it's not, oh my god, it's a prism variation of who gives a fuck. It's something that looks cool. Something that's going to maintain some value. But yeah, the Hall of Fame stuff, that's always that just. Yeah, if I can, that would be the stuff I'd spend a lot of money on at a show. Just because you start looking through stuff, it would just be constant. I want to pick this stuff up, especially if you find that the proverbial honey hole some dealer has, just like 5 for $20. Even if it's game used stuff from that early to mid 2000s, you just pick it up because it's game used. If it's Jerry Rice, if it's at that time, like let's say it's a Sean Alexander patch, you're gonna pick it up if it's $4 or $5 because remembering how much they were and the forgetfulness of a lot of people at how great some of these players were. Even if for only a limited period of time, they didn't have the lengthy career of Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers or Brett Favre, Marino Elway, whatever, Montana, Rice. You had 4, 5, 6 good years, great years. I mean, it's not like we don't know any players like that. It's very hard to even come up with one, let alone 30. So, it,
Yes, Ty, we always talk about years past. Dave capitalized in a lot of situations. I at least capitalized from a TD collection to where a lot of things were what I deem as more affordable. Nowadays, it's slim pickings because, at least in my opinion, I refuse to overpay for something. Whether whether somebody agrees or disagrees with that, perspective or mindset, I won't overpay for something. And by that I mean I won't pay more for something just because for whatever reason it seems to be more enticing or more valuable.
mhm.
We always talk about it. I will always have set prices in my head of what I'm willing to pay for something. And I'll be the first one to admit there have been times in which, you know, I've put in my initial bid and sat there and thought about it for a few seconds and I'll increase it a little bit because I start thinking about, rarity and, years and things along those lines. And, but I still won't ever go, nope, I have to have this card. I'm going to bid stupid money. There are only a few cards out there that I'm doing that to.
Mm-hmm.
And, the one that I mentioned I lost, for those who are wondering, I lost it by 3 cents. Now, as I always say, you don't ever know what the max bid somebody put in, but, for what I bid and what the winning bid was, I lost it by 3 cents. And it was just something that would have been nice to have. It was a 12 card lot of Prism.
Okay.
And quite a few variations, 12 different cards. Not that I would ever think that I would complete a Prism rainbow by any stretch of the imagination. There's one I'm one short of, or maybe 2 short. I know I'm missing the finite for 1 year, but the year in which I have both finites, I haven't bothered to go back after the rest of them, even though there's not 62.5 million of them.
Mm.
It's only a small handful. But because golds are the thing these days, and everybody's pushing Prism golds, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Numbered to 10, they're pretty cards. But since they're starting to become so sought after, it seems people have a tendency to put them up for prices that I'm like, no, I'm not paying $500 for a Prism Gold of Terrell Davis. I'm sorry, it's not happening. Good luck. I hope you do well, but I'm not the guy who's going to pay it. I'm not. So box retract.
No, that's there's times we've all said it. Sort of harken back to what Ty said. 15, 20 years ago, all of us probably in here were in a different financial space. We didn't have whatever job we've got now. And if we did, we didn't have that. We weren't on the pay scale we are at now. So, and again, Leaf Limited coming out. God, I'm trying to remember how much it was a pack. Because I remember we had a guy in the forums I became good friends with that was over in England, a big Detroit Lions fan. I know it's none of that makes sense. It's true. He loved Joey Harrington. So I mean it just gets better. But he'd always buy a case or two of Leaf Limited and then try to buy more because at the time, much like the what is it, the back-to-backs or passing the torch for Elite, the material monikers for Leaf Limited were big cards. And to see some of the stuff you pulled there, I wanted it, but it's like 75 for this card, 200 for that. I'm like, man, that's a lot of money. So I'm used to, again, if there's a show in Duluth, if there's a show in Virginia, I'm rummaging through dollar boxes, value boxes. I'm doing the Ed thing way back then because that was my price range unless I happen to get something, flip it. Again, recycling that money back into the collection. It wasn't like today where you can. There's a little more availability for funds, either because of.
There were value boxes back then. I'm sorry, I was shocked.
Believe it or not,
I couldn't believe it.
Value boxes have preceded certain card shop owners saying how they make money off of them. But again,
wow,
you don't want to give that knowledge away because you can't do that. 2010 is when the card market began.
No way. Did it really?
Yes.
Man, I'm so glad I'm sitting down again. Are we going to have another one of those shows just where everything is just, everybody needs to be sitting down?
I hope
because we haven't even touched on the subject yet.
I know that's
the scary part.
You could get your doctor on the horn because you might need to go back in. All these truth bombs keep coming out.
Hey, the heart is good. The mind is a whole different story.
Just wait. Dial 9-1 and then wait. But now you can sort of make those plays on, quote unquote, for us, bigger cards. The 50 to like $200 to $300 cards, which you start getting to that $200 to $300. That's for people that don't live in their parents' basement and aren't funded by Patreon and fans. That's a healthy chunk of money to put into cardboard. Again, as grown men, and especially when we have other hobbies, endeavors, kids have activities, needs. What? You're an adult. You have to fucking pay rent, mortgage, water and light, insurances of various sorts, groceries, bills for cable, internet, the sort. you need to. have that analogy in about a month, Paul, when the Daytona 500's like knocking on the door. That's when we rub paint.
I'm calling in sick if that's what we're going to talk about.
You're not calling in sick. Your heart's good.
But NASCAR.
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't have much to bring to that topic of conversation. Hate to say it. Hockey, I can get by. Tennis, I'm good.
He can get by. Okay.
Shut up. Who asked you?
No one.
Don't make me put you in timeout, Vinny. Wrong timeout. Timeout. Tennis, I'm good with. Attitude Era and wrestling and some of the older stuff, I'm okay with. NASCAR, not much. I could even go, drag racing. I can talk a little bit of that, but I don't do NASCAR, Dave. I loved Gordon. It's the only few times I'd watch a race back when, Gordon was on top of his game. I still hated the fact of losing Earnhardt. That was a tragedy by all stretch of the imagination. But for the most part, I quote unquote followed it through like AFCOP 13 and his pickups, from a NASCAR perspective. And a few others that would, pick up certain stuff, whether it be fire suits and tires and sheet metal and autographs and stuff like that. And the sporadic Dave, NASCAR pickup in which, you would do from time to time. But that's about the extent of it. I never really sat and watched it. But
Yeah, I get it.
next subject, please.
To button up the other one though, looking to make those plays back then when you had so many other focuses of cards, you think it's rookie driven now? It was insanely rookie driven then, which nobody seems to remember. You wanted the Carson Palmer SP Authentic patch auto, or I don't know if he had an auto because that was like 5 or 6. It was a limited number of the rookies, and everybody else seemed to have like the patch, like the Teo Johnsons and the Tyrone Calico, people of that nature. But then you had like the Leftwich, the Bowler. I want to say Palmer.
Yeah, I was trying to remember.
I want to say there's a wide receiver in there. I think I got the book somewhere where. But that stuff was like white hot. So then the veteran stuff, the game used, even like Don Maynard patch, Lance Allworth autos, that stuff became somewhat secondary because you're looking for the big guys of the rookie class.
Because that's where the value was. That's what everybody wanted.
Yeah, I mean, even if you pulled them and you didn't want them, you knew you could flip them pretty much immediately.
Prime example, SP Authentic, I think I bought 6 boxes. I think. I pulled because Jamarcus Russell was a redemption for his patch auto. And at the time, he was still freaking red hot.
Mm-hmm.
And that sucker went up on eBay real fast and did fairly well. But in that time, if you sold something for $100 to $200, that was still a big deal.
Yeah.
We talk about it all the time. $100 to $200 nowadays is like small potatoes. Everything talks about the common cards these days, 1,000 plus, 10,000 plus. Now, yes, that's huge.
Mm-hmm.
$200,000. That was, you didn't hear about stuff like that other than maybe like your sporadic type T2, that type of stuff.
This way, that's the only one you ever heard like setting new records. It wasn't Jordan's, it wasn't Tom Brady then, it wasn't Peyton Manning, it wasn't Drew Bledsoe SP rookies, it Marino.
It wasn't Lewis Hamilton. It wasn't Charizards. Black Lotuses, the Magic World.
No, you had one card that was basically the barometer, and everything else sort of fell in line. But Bryant Johnson was the receiver I was thinking of. Terrell Suggs, and then Seneca Wallace, Taylor Jacobs, Byron Leftwich, Carson Palmer. And then
those were the patch autos?
and then Dave Ragone, the Wizinator, Ontario Smith, and then Kyle Bowler. I knew Bowler had one because my buddy that's down in Illinois that I stay with for the National when I went there 2008, 9, and 11. He was a huge Bowler guy. Like fucking what I am to Josh Johnson. He's finally sold most of his stuff off, which I wish he would have contacted me and had a realistic price because I would have kept that collection going because he put so much money and time into it.
But that happens. We talk about that.
So to button that up, that's different direction, different financial tax bracket. Not like we're living in 6, 10, 20 figure brackets now, but when you're trying to get your footing, you'd get cards when you could. Not like these assholes now that they go into mommy and daddy's war chest of fucking doubloons and gold bars and Apple stock and sell it off, and they can go gallivanting in the Learjet and pretend they're Ric Flair. So,
or money trees.
Yeah, the money trees that grow in unseasonable climates. So you do. So now on to the fun of the topic.
So which way do we want to take this, Dave? Everybody knows about the big one that's ongoing.
Yeah.
I will only speak on what I've read and stuff outside of what has transpired after the fact. I refuse to lay claim to anything because honestly, I haven't been following a lot of it outside of, kind of what transpired. But on the flip side, I would be interested to see which path you take from like the old school type stuff. Because there's only one that really I can recall from back in our prime days. And that was Melbourne Cowboys.
He was one. Cowpack 21, I think that was her name. There's shenanigans there.
Yeah, but that one's a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for?
Juicy?
Interesting?
Juicy? That's more of a Lifetime movie type of miniseries.
Yes.
Couple.
Yes. Yes.
The two I put up on the placeholder. One
of them.
One, of course, is going to be one that pretty much everyone has heard of. That's a specific card number to 99. The Brandon Cooks. That was the one on the left. It was out of a 2016 National Treasures where it was either, I don't know if it was a DAC, RPA, a low numbered one, a Brady auto. Something came out, and then the guy just like, Brandon Cooks to 99. And anytime, this is a key. Anyone that's listening, anyone that listens in the archive, when you have a group breaker, they better 100% of the time open the box and said cards fully, always on camera.
Hence the reason why you see your big breakers have multiple cameras now going, because that eliminates, well, reduces. I should say reduces, because some people may have quick hands and everything else along those lines. Just throwing that out there as a possibility. But it reduces the potential of something fishy going on when it comes to stuff along those lines. But that's the whole reason why now all you see these big time breakers usually have multiple camera views.
Mm-hmm.
It's that quote unquote transparency aspect to where the cards are always in the camera view at all times. And you have two views. And the hands kind of like sit like right here. I mean, there's nothing like off to the side. I mean, it's interesting what it's turned into, because, you know, back in the day, most breakers had one camera.
Yep.
And, you know, I think of Chad, True 17, and Tyson NZ, and GSN, Nick, Denny, you know, some of those guys that I joined quite a few breaks in those days. But it was, you trusted them first and foremost, and they were always in view at all times. Mm-hmm. There never seemed to be, if there was, then they had to be pretty good at like quick switches and quick hands and everything else. Granted, like for me, I didn't experience the whole Melbourne Cowboys thing. I just heard about it because at that time, you know, I was still quote unquote new.
Yep.
To the hobby world, or to the YouTube world, I should say. I shouldn't say to the card world, the YouTube card world. And, you know, you heard different people's perspective on it. You saw videos about it. And like you kind of said in the placeholder and the actual description aspect of it, you know, and what you said first part of the show, this isn't new. None of this stuff is new. The only difference is nowadays you're talking big bucks are involved.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the day, you know, to pull a $300, $400, $500 card, that was huge. That is child's play. Mm-hmm. When it comes to some of the stuff that's being pulled in breaks, and how much people are paying for their spots, whether it be pick your team or random for that matter. I'm referring more to pick your team stuff because they're tiered, of course, based on what team you want. You got the big rookie, then you're going to pay big time for that team. Back in our day, it was random teams.
Yep.
Most of them. There were a few that were pick your teams, but it was still a set price in the majority of the time. Unless it was like an Exquisite or a National Treasures, the top tier product, you may have some differences in some of your teams. But Nothing compared to, $100 for this team and 10,000 for this one. You're not talking major price disparities by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But any of the stuff that you see, I think the one that most of us are aware of pertaining to backyard breaks, I'll go ahead and throw it out there. There's more. I'm trying to find the right words. It is the most severe, I think, betraying your followers or your individuals that buy into these things. It's the biggest betrayal possible.
Mm-hmm.
You don't say you're going to give something away, and because you pull something like that, you renege on it. That's first and foremost. It's just dishonest. It's like you kind of said, it's a black eye to the whole card collecting community, and the fact that breakers are a big part of this community, and that's how a lot of people have chances to get their hands on stuff. So that could be their only outlet for quote unquote getting some of the newer stuff for whatever reason. Yes, Paul, a $300 to $400 card would still get a sleeve and a top loader. Some would even still get mags, depending on who they are. I know you're kind of being a little facetious there, but it almost makes you wonder to a certain degree, just because of the amount of money some of these cards fetch. But that whole situation, it's dishonesty at its core. It is strictly money driven, which is the unfortunate part of this. We've talked about it before. Your old school breakers made just a little bit off of a break.
Mm-hmm.
Not that there was a ton of breakers out there, but you still had to be competitive. So, like I said, I don't want to go into more detail other than what I know has transpired and what I have physically seen with my own eyes and heard with my own ears. There's other information out there. I know Carlos touched on it at some point, I believe. But I'm not going to go any further than just what I saw, what I heard from the multiple posts. And yes, I did, in fact, watch that portion of the break. So I did see it. I heard the conversations. I heard the one guy kind of come out of the back, like looking like Mario or something, whatever he was dressed in. It's unfortunate. The fact that somebody put out a petition to get them taken off the platform says something. So that ought to tell you how it was taken within the card collecting community. That says something. And when I saw it, I think it was up to 1,300 something signatures. And I don't even know how long it had been up, which is crazy to think. But let's be real. These platforms, it's all about money to them. They don't give a crap.
Yeah.
So, Dave, I'll kind of let you add anything outside of what I've kind of mentioned. If you know more or anything that's kind of happened after the fact, if you happen to catch anything from anybody or something along those lines, I'd be interested to hear. I did hear some grumblings that they were talking about maybe donating the amount of money to charity or something along those lines. It just crazy.
I heard some of that. I haven't taking the nosedive like head first into all that fun and excitement. We've said it before. Privately, publicly. When I look like a goon on a video, it's to get a laugh. I'm not trying to make a buck. I'm not trying to swindle. I'm not trying to scam. I'm not trying to sell you snake oil. All these fuckers out there, the team schmediums, good deals only, these idiots, literally looks like a Q-tip blown up in cut-off shirts that Brian Bosworth wouldn't have even worn at Oklahoma. You put your money into them. You put your following of whatever insane rhetoric they're going on and on about. You deserve what you get. Now, in the group breaking realm, as Steve alluded to, we had folks back in the YouTube Prime that would do breaks. Most of the time, it wasn't people ordering shit off the internet. There were times on that Black Friday where you could expect maybe a Christmas or a post-Christmas break with some of these guys because they got in. If they had enough interest. Said, hey, these products are X amount. Again, if you had like the Donruss, God, what the hell was it? The Gridiron gear, if you had that. If you had LCM, Leaf Certified Materials, if you had those two products, in any break, they would fill pretty quickly. But these guys also knew if they fucked up like these asshats do all the time, this generation, all these fly-by-night, Johnny-come-lately fucking breakers that are just literally asexually reproducing and putting shit content every fucking where. They knew if they fucked up like that, they were pretty much banished. I recall, and I went back and looked at the one because I knew what happened, but I wanted the refresher course, which is the right-hand picture of the placeholder. Wasn't really a group break. In the same vein, it was a scammer. I'll get to that in a moment. There was another one, like the summer before, like Steve and I joined, that 09 summer. I want to say Azalin, Azalin, and it might be 9. There was some drama with him on there, the Melbourne Cowboys. Later on in like 2012, late 2011 maybe, it was Cowpack 21. A lot of fucking shenanigans with that team. That was a nightmare and a half. The one with Brandon Cooks to 99 over the NT. Anytime when you take those cards and you're looking through them, and you're looking and you drop them off the camera, you can tilt. Oh, wow! Brandon Cooks to 99. Nobody in their right mind would ever get that excited. Nobody. You know something's up. I'd venture to say any hobbyist with half a brain, but that seems to be like the top of the hill these days. The folks that have sort of stumbled in the last year or two. They really don't know or have a grasp of what's going on. They see dollar signs, and that's basically all they see. Some, the nostalgia part, which is great. Again, if we can help those folks, then we're always going to be there. But the people that just constantly see the dollar signs, that's a tough sell to anybody that doesn't want to divert from that path. I digress. The other one, the right-hand side of the placeholder, is one I've talked about before. Adiball 23. Bunch of folks over in the Philippines. So right there, I was like, they've got money? This interests me because I've been there twice. I know there's money there. There's a lot of people that don't have money there. A lot. This guy worked at Citibank, and how he was able to get, because he opened, and you can go back on YouTube right now, folks. Folks, who's going to look? Adiball, ATTYBALL, the number 23. Opening case after case after case after case after case of exquisite basketball. From the drop of exquisite to the 07, 08, maybe 08, 09. Tons of it. The guy worked at Citibank. As I don't remember the title, but he was able to get investors' money into his own personal account to the tune of about 100 million pesos, which I think was about $2.5–3 million at the time. And last I looked, because I looked before, because I wanted to actually have some pertinent information for this, I did not see anywhere where they had said he'd been arrested. Because he was the son of, I don't know if it was a mayor of one of the I'm trying to think, like the boroughs of Manila, or not. His dad had some clout politically, and over there, you think a name in politics means something here. Go to one of these third world countries where you have somebody that's prominent. Look up Ferdinand Marcos and look at the lineage there. History time, folks. I'm not dumb. Look at how some of that plays out. So, to a lesser extent, the Wish version of Ferdinand Marcos and the Marcos family, this Brian Ang, 2015, I think, was like the last time there had been any article that I had seen when I was scrolling through, anything mentioned about him. So I don't know if he's somewhere, some other country, hiding out. I don't know. I was unable to find the information that I really wanted to find and locate. So that information might not exist. I don't know. But to rob pretty much investors of a worldwide bank to buy cards, and he didn't just pull like, oh, here's like a Jeff Green, Kevin Durant dual auto patch to 10. No, he's pulling dual logo mans and like big ones. There's Kobe's, there was Jordan's, there's LeBron's. That he was pulling, as the kids say, straight fire.
Bangers.
That shit was lit, bro. So,
Sheesh.
and he was able to afford Pantene or Head and Shoulders or Suave or Herbal Essence. He could actually not look like his head was a broken down Brillo pad. So he wasn't turning a $2,000 card into a $2,200.50 card.
She had original shoe game.
She had a foot up on the competition.
Jeez. Here come all the cheesy puns. Paul claims bingo.
Yep. That deserves it.
So, not in the group breaking sense per se, but you see a lot of these scams because I think there was another one lately too with Card Collector 2. Mark's Cards, maybe. That was another one. You're seeing these people getting scammed and schemed out of money. And you seem to have a lot of newbies like, wow, how can this happen? You said it. I think I was going to say this earlier and I never got to it. Privately, publicly, anywhere. We've said this for years. We've said it for pre-YouTube. Steve, you'll remember it before me because I know I'm going to fuck it up. If you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. I believe that's it. And these people don't bother learning about history. So they can't even see, like, hey, this shit's happened before. Sometimes it's on like a minimal scale, like a couple $100, but still, in our day, that would ruin you.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to see where the clown card breakers or whatever they're fucking called. What happens to them if they're gonna disappear or they're gonna rebrand or who knows what the fuck they're gonna do? Again, because you know there's so much money to be had, you don't want to lose that golden goose and that golden egg. You're like, fuck, you'll do whatever it takes. And there's a lot of people out there right now that fit that bill, where they're shady, scheming, skeevy, fucking just like gunk on the bottom of your fucking work boot. They're just trash. And that's why you always have to do your due diligence. Don't fucking, just because somebody offers something break-wise, let's say there's a ton of followers. Oh, I want to get in too. That might not necessarily be the best. Hobbybox Chris, you look, he's been around for 15 years. Okay, he's doing something right. Truth 17, when he was doing it right. Irving, Mustache Breaks, he's been around forever too. You got some of these other guys too. I know that, and I can't speak to their 100% credibility. I've never talked to any of them, like the Jaspies, the Leighton Breaks, Cardsmith Breaks, people of that nature that have been around a while. Don't just jump in because you hear the bells and whistles, you see the flash. A lot of that is to draw you in.
Yep.
And a lot of that's gonna fucking leave you like 6 months later. Like I've had 25 breaks a month and I've gotten 10 cards. How does that work? And none of them are worth a drop of piss.
Like you said, do your due diligence, do your research, ask around, ask questions. You know, it's when you're talking this type of money in today's market, there's going to be more people out there that this is strictly about money. It's not about the hobby. It's not about the love for community. You know, it has nothing to do with it. It is strictly money focused. And the more money they can make, that's what's important to them. And, you know, these people will come and go just like they have in the past. and they're going to continue to come and go. So it's one of those in which I don't pay attention to a lot of these things. I try and stay somewhat informed to a degree. I've said it multiple times. There's three sides to every story. There's each side, and then there's the truth. In a lot of situations, do we know if the quote unquote truth will ever come out? So take the information out there for what it's worth. Make your own decisions. Make your own choices. Because at the end of the day, this sounds, I won't say cliche, but at the end of the day, you have to look out for yourself, period. It doesn't matter. And that is not to say that, don't rely on your friends and things along those lines in a lot of situations, because, they bring information to the table. But at the end of the day, make your own decision. Mm-hmm. Just because you reach out to 15 people and they all say, oh no, these are great people, for all you know, that those individuals could have the wool pulled over their eyes. You just don't know. Mm-hmm. But be smart. Do your due diligence, do your research. Like I said, ask around, and then at the end of the day, make your own decision. It's unfortunate that this stuff continues to happen. The drama is always going to be there. Always. It is never going to go away, ever. Nope. It will always be here. And, it's inform yourself and use the information in whatever way you see fit. But don't just jump on the bandwagon of, well, these people are pieces of crap because you only heard it from one source. It's you gotta you gotta take the time. You gotta understand what's going on. You gotta see what else is going to come to the forefront. Mm-hmm. Don't jump to conclusions unless you have firsthand knowledge. I mean, case in point, the whole thing that went down at the Dallas Card Show. A lot of the early stuff that was coming out turned out to be not fully accurate. But things were coming from trusted sources and everything else. So it's like you got to be careful. It's no different than, reading the news on the internet. Not everything that is posted out there is true. You know what I mean? It's do your research. Do your research. Don't just automatically believe everything that you read, see, no matter who it's coming from or who it's not coming from. Soapbox, retract. Vinny, extend said soapbox.
It's all the same. Only the brakes have changed. To quote Bon Jovi. It's all it is. I've seen this stuff going back years. So we're talking circa 1992 when the guys would get a case at a shop and they'd sit there and, hey, can I get a box of that? Yeah. Or, hey, if you get this player, can I get this? Back then, you relied on the honesty of said dealer. Mm-hmm. Can I sit here while you break it? Yeah, I don't care. Hey, look, you got a whatever in there. Hey, your box sucked. This has been going on. Box breaks have been going on forever. Mm-hmm. Usually, back then, they toss you the box, and while they're breaking 15 of them, you break your box right there. Mm-hmm. It was a different concept. But I guarantee it's been going on before the cameras rolled. It's just a fact of life. There's always that chance where, hey, I didn't pull anything. And then all of a sudden in the showcase, he told you he was done breaking. Oh, yeah, I forgot I told you. I pulled that number to 10,000 Elite. I thought you said you were done. Only had my box left. Oh yeah, I must have forgot.
Huh.
So
So Ty, different concept though. It wasn't group breaks. Group breaks were what, circa what, Dave? 20 2000 what? Because Chris has been doing it what, 15 years, so that puts it what, 2007.
7.
At least from a production perspective. I mean, AR Platinum was doing them around that time, if not sooner.
And now he's doing lottery tickets.
Yep. Hey, whatever floats his boat. I still watch some of his stuff from time to time. I always enjoyed watching his breaks. I never joined any. Hell, I sent the guy a care package just because it was Houston Texans, and at the time, Houston Texans, you pulled all the time, and it's like, okay, who else can you give it to? So, and he loved Amobi Okoye, of all people. Not gonna say he was a super collector of him by any stretch of the imagination, but he loved Amobi Okoye. And, I used to pull him like freaking all the time. So I'm like, hey, take him. But the whole group break concept is, I'll say, is new in quotation marks compared to what kind of Vinny was alluded to. You had Pack Wars and box wars, that type of stuff. And a lot of that is kind of what Vinny was alluding to. Because I know for a fact that was going on back in 95. Because I watched at the card show with people doing 95 SP at, $4 a pack, maybe $5 a pack at the show. Which, we would all kill to have good product for $5 a pack these days. But you set specific parameters, but it was a trust thing, like Vinny alluded to. It was a trust thing because you could sit there and open a pack of cards and be like, yeah, I didn't get shit. And then the other guy, well, I got this. So, oh no, wait. Yeah, I'm sorry. I actually got this. And then, it just, it becomes an honesty thing. And, it's not all breakers are bad. Mm-hmm. That is not what any of us are saying. They are a valued asset, honestly, in this community. I would say more so for those who do it without money being the main focus, because products are the way that they are and everything has turned into team or player / team focused. In order to, I don't want to say stay competitive, you kind of have to go with the trends. You could have people out there that sit there and go, yeah, you know what, we're going to do random team breaks and, set this price point. Well, you piss too many people off from the breaking world. You kind of give yourself a red flag, even though you're doing stuff the way it used to be. I wish it could go back to the way it was. Random team breaks. If the case was $1,000 and 30 teams, your spot was $65, $70, whatever. I'm not doing my math. I'm sorry. I'm not going to break out the calculator. But everything has to be put into a spectrum, because in the event that you pull a card that's 10, 20, 30, 40, $100,000, mm-hmm. as a breaker, you want to be able to ensure that your costs are covered from the case. But there are some out there that I'm willing to bet for, like, so who does Ja play for?
Memphis.
Okay. I was drawing a blank. That's why I had to ask the question. You know, one breaker may have a flawless break, and the Grizzlies for that break is, you know, $4,000. But then this breaker over here may, you know, have the same break setup, but theirs is 3750 for whatever reason. So there's where the competition comes into play. I've never liked that. But on the flip side, that's a pick your team. So you pick your poison in that situation. You want a chance of a bigger card, you're going to pay the price. Back in the day, that wasn't a thing. You joined a break of exquisite basketball, it was $100, $120, depending on what year type situation. On the flip side, there were a lot of times in which a lot of people got shut out.
Mm-hmm.
Now, because of this being so mainstream type situation, it's like all cards ship, and they have to find ways to make sure everybody gets something. Because if not, all it takes is a filing a claim, and, you know, there goes somebody's business or livelihood potentially. So different times these days, but I miss the old days, the way breaks used to be, because I joined a lot of them, and I joined mystery packs.
Yep. Those, again, you had to make sure. Again, to those who are foreign to a mystery pack or a custom case break, as Michael Airfelk 77 would do, what, once a year, maybe twice a year. They were. This isn't like something you have a actual pack. This is like, let's say I do mystery packs from my inventory. There would be a video, say, hey, I got, as Ty said or alluded to, Tyson, the boba packs from Ben's friend. Drum up business so he could roll through and get some more stuff. Maybe whatever it was like, I don't know if it was 100 or 80, 50, somewhere in there. And they'd be, you'd have a video, you'd have what they called chasers. It's basically case hits, more or less. What you're looking to pull. Back then, maybe a Randy Moss auto. I don't even know if a LeBron patch would have been sufficient enough. I mean, there was, most of the time it was football stuff. Then you had some baseball sprinkled in. With the notation sort of, hey, you'll get, if you get one of like the 5 chasers, you're not going to get much else in the pack. You'll get some stuff. I mean, you're not going to get like an Allen and Ginter mini card and maybe like the 1 in 4 pack tops update insert. You'll get a couple jerseys, an autograph, whatever, but you're not going to get the chaser stacked upon with other $50, $100 cards. You're going to get, that chaser is going to be basically what carries the weight, because again, it's a case hit, more or less. You had people doing that, and you had him because you built that up. They did it so well that you'd come back. You knew if or and when they did it, you had to, as Ben would say, get amongst it, and get amongst it quickly, because if you didn't, if you sort of hemmed and hawed, usually within about a half hour to an hour, especially if you put it at like the 6 o'clock hour, 7 o'clock for him out in the DC area, it would fill pretty much. You would have that between 6 and 7 Central Time. He'd put the video on YouTube, he'd go on blog, and basically that 1 hour was basically come and get it. at 7, 8 for him, we're starting. So people did that. They had a lot of those mystery packs, a lot of the custom breaks where, again, you random.org, names one side, teams other, boom. Get about 5 or 10 minutes for like the custom break to trade. I know the last one I did in that Michael had that I know of. I think I got the Eagles. And I think Will Dawkins 311 had the Chiefs, and that was the best of the team options because I don't give a shit about the Eagles. And I know with the propensity for Michael looking for old school stuff, Chiefs are going to have a better chance. So I traded them. I made out well. I got a Len Dawson to 10, Otto, and then a Buck Buchanan, I think, patched to 25. So I was beyond thrilled for whatever I paid, $40. But thankfully, you didn't have that glut or that rush of people trying to do that. Mostly because they either had to be a true collector or they had to have access to that kind of inventory to put this stuff together. That's not something you can just be like, hey, join a group break. I got some boxes here. That's easy to spend $500-$600 back in the day, 6-7 boxes, and be like, group break time. Easy. Or yeah, if you opened a ton, you could put it together. But that stuff you don't really, and again, I know it's out there. We're just not in that space, either here on YouTube or on Instagram or wherever else. The mystery pack stuff is so subjective too. Well, that's a case hit or that's a chaser. Well, to me it might be. To Jimmy Jack and Jojo Shabadoo, it isn't. It's like when you start, it's a LeBron auto. Well, yeah, that's a chaser, but you're not going to give up a LeBron auto unless you're paying $800 for the mystery pack. You have 40 of them, and guess what? You're not going to be. There isn't going to be much else to be picked from said mystery pack. So. There's always ways to make money. There's always ways to spend money. And there's always going to be ways to lose money. Don't lose money. Be smart. Another old adage. If you don't listen to it, it's your own fault. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is.
Hope everybody was sitting down for that.
Yeah.
Say it ain't so, Dave Archer. I cannot believe it.
Yeah.
If you would have read the descriptor box, you'd have known. It was in the criterias. I digress.
And there it is. And there it is from Paul. It's been a while since we've seen it. It's been a while since we've seen it. Talk about being on brand.
Yeah.
As good as the day he created it.
That's Hall of Fame worthy right there. Just saying.
Start making content, Paul. Video content. But then by the time you're 3 years in, who knows how many people are going to be on in a special voting because there's just not enough channels to choose from. I don't know any channels past 3 years. My ballot is 1. I'm going fishing. I reeled one in. So,
That's how you really feel, Dave.
I'm trying, Steve. It's like I said before. It's a tough process. I'm working with multiple therapists.
They're failing.
Life coaches, like what a different life coach every day. So
I'm just gonna say it like it is. Don't ever change, Dave. We love you for who you are. That's what makes you. That's what makes you special.
well, I've been told I'm special many times.
I wasn't. Shut up and just accept it. Just accept the compliment and shut up. Jeez.
Sheesh.
Thanks, Vinny. Thanks, Vinny. You're right on brand tonight too. I mean, everybody's on fire.
That was him.
Shut up, Vinny.
Shut up.
Now that's on brand.
We are on brand tonight. The only problem is we haven't been using enough hobby nomenclature yet this evening. So
We will.
That's your fault for not using the vernacular.
Yeah.
shut up, Vinny. Now maybe put you in timeout again. It's all right. You know where you live. You enjoy every minute of it. But that's why we also love you too.
I'm just hanging out, man, and offered a word or two when deemed fit, where my soapbox could extend.
Which it does frequently. And we appreciate it for sure.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Do you appreciate me?
All the time.
Dave and I both did it.
All the time. All the time. Twice on Tuesdays.
Oh, geez. Do you want to answer that question, Dave, or do you want to leave that for another day?
It sucks.
Conversation over.
I deal with
We don't want Dave to go on that soapbox because you know what will happen.
it doesn't retract.
It has nothing to do with extending or retracting. It
Yeah.
has to do with opening a certain thing that we don't want to open. Anybody care to guess?
Rhymes with Dora.
For Dara's well,
As keeper of the soapbox, I do not allow it to extend for the sake of Dave. Soapbox, stay put.
It's soapbox is under new management.
Let the boys guard the soapbox for a while. They'll just annoy you to death if you come near it.
Yeah, well, whatever works, right?
Hey, they're not vicious, but they're creative.
Note taken. Note taken. So, anything else we want to touch on? Wow, something negative in the hobby. We talk about stuff that was negative in the hobby. I know that's not a thing. I mean, there's only a small handful of people who are willing to talk about the negative happenings. It's not all. It's not all what, Vinny?
Son, I'm bad at that thing. You're gonna have to go with that one. I can do it in emoji form. I can't do the exact same.
Sunshine, rainbows, and toilet flower cards.
Thank you.
It's the reality of this whole hobby economy, as Carlos uses, which I think is a great encapsulation of actually what all of this is. everybody has their place in the hobby economy. As I said, breakers are a part of it, and most of them are positive. They do good for the hobby. Yes, they do make money, but let's be realistic. If that's their business, in order to run a successful business, guess what you have to do? You have to make money. If not, then it's not a business. It's a charity. So uh, I have nothing more to add on that topic, so to speak.
I'd say again for the people that hate them, and you're buying singles on eBay, you're buying singles on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Shut the fuck up. Those singles had to come from somewhere, especially if it's a new product. If you see what, let's say, NT comes out, you're looking for Joe Blow. Joe Blow Shield's up. Joe Blow Auto Shield is up. Joe Blow Logo Patch to 5 is up. Joe Blow Parallel Auto Patch to 25 is up. In the first week, as shitty as group breaking is made out to be in this hobby, it is an absolute vital cog for team, player, prospecting collectors to acquire their players. Bowman Chrome Draft when that comes out. Holy hell. That's another one that people used to buy case upon case with, just to rip the shit out of it. And a lot of times they just hold. That was your stock. Like, who's going to hit? Okay, we know A, B, and C. D, people are on the fence about. And then you have like a couple sleepers that are like the rumbling unders, and then you've got the rest. But who knows that the rest, 2 or 3 could have hit. You sell them too early, and this is one thing I love and I hate. Golden had on Instagrams the other day when Chris pulled the orange draft trout, and the reaction was just like, it's a trout. None of the fuckers, and again, I didn't even look at the comments because I'm just like, I bet you half to 3/4 don't even know who's breaking. All I needed to see, and I remember that break because over the years it's gotten more famous or infamous because of just a lackluster response. But again, you know what we were doing if we pulled a Tom Brady auto in 2000? Tom Brady.
Yep.
Look at that. Look at that lineage. Oh, wow. Brian Greasy, what a great quarterback he's turning out to be for Denver. What a joy. And then I think was Chad May there? No, it was Kansas State. I'm trying to think who else. You didn't have a lot of great quarterbacks from Michigan. It just was. It wasn't the 60s. It wasn't the 70s.
Come on, Chad Henne, man.
What's up, Foxy? Where you at?
Come on.
But you can always look back and be like, well, why didn't he get excited? Well, did you see when the video was posted? If this video was posted yesterday, okay, then it's a little troublesome. The video's, God, it's got to be, 13 years old now?
Well, would have been around the time in which the product released.
09.
So,
09. So, yeah, it's.
There you go, Dave.
Lurking. That's what I like.
We brought him out. We brought him out of the shadows.
The hidden mic picked it up. So to see that, it's like that's where I want to ask Kenny Golden about Don West, because if you can twist the narrative on other people, I want to hear the truth, or your twist of truth about Donnie West. You can't be like, what would your reaction be, or what do you think of this reaction then? It's like, yeah, it is what it is. It's not right now. If you pulled the Strasburg, let's say the Super, it'd still be a big card. You pull a Strasburg Super in 10, you're doing Bam Bam Bigelow cartwheels.
Yeah, huge.
So, and even that thing goes for 25,000, and that's chump change now in the big card atmosphere. So,
But it has to be graded. They have to be graded, Dave. Come on.
Needs to be.
That's where the bucks come in. Have to be graded.
Maybe PSA and Team Schmedium will team up for a $10,000 sub special. That way, they can guarantee they're authentic.
Sure.
Maybe they can sell them on whatnot. Whoops. Fuckers.
I like Foxy's response.
I have seen Henny on the sideline a few times. And every time I see him, I think of Jason. I'm like, fuck. Get in the game. One touchdown. That's all he's looking for. Yeah, I think that pretty much puts the old Velcro on the New Balance shoes and wraps that topic up.
This is true. This is true. This is true. Well, we actually managed to touch on the topic. Of course, it started later than normal, but you know, early conversation was good, as always. Anybody have anything they want to talk about?
Sorry to dip out so much. Just making sure the better half's taking her easy.
No apologies necessary.
She's under the weather, and you only heard her beautiful voice only for about 40 minutes of the broadcast. She's now has a nice warm blanket that I warmed up in the dryer for her, so she's snug as a bug in a rug, as they say.
You need to have the hashtag before that, Jason.
Yeah, I really don't want to go down that route.
No.
What a mess.
You can say that again. You can say that again. So, yes, I know the reason why I don't have the video on, our front porch light went out. So I don't want to be out here talking and you like not being really wanting to, or not being able to see me. It looked a little weird. But, you know, Jason can probably agree with this to a degree. The stuff that's going on right now, even back in the day, there was nothing to that extent that I can remember, but that takes me back to the heyday of YouTube and the multitude of drama. He said this, she said this, well, this person did that, they did this. And then you just started having multiple follow-up rant videos in regards to certain situations or conversations or whatever. It's like, I feel like I'm back in the old days, but it's all transpiring like between Instagram and YouTube. It's like multiple social media platforms. Not fun times. Not fun times. No matter whose side you're on, whose side you believe, whatever. Not that I can recall.
No. Maybe BT when he lost out on a Rudy Gay patch. That's about it. That's all I can remember.
That's probably factual. But another name from the past. It's just, but this is always going to be a thing, folks. No matter what you believe, who you follow, who you like, who you dislike, this is always going to be a thing. Anytime you put yourself out there in the social media world, shit's going to come out, positive, negative, and different. And I hate to say this, I have no like skin in the game here. But if you're going to attempt to rise to some sort of social media stardom, then you have to be ready for stuff like this. And you have to be prepared for stuff like this. Not saying shit is right in the way people approach things or convey information, but if you're going to put yourself out there and somehow find a way to where you're put on a pedestal, if it's of your own accord or other people have put you there, whatever the situation, this is the stuff that you're going to have to be ready for. Not saying, like I said, I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's a good thing, a bad thing. I am an impartial third party in this situation because there's right ways and wrong ways to approach things. And I go back to what I said earlier. Form your own opinions based on information that is being conveyed.
Because people are evilly vicious and sometimes they just don't have a heart or a soul about it. And it's a shame. Because that kind of stuff has no place anywhere. But
yep,
the sad fact is the world does what it wants. And just pray it doesn't happen often.
Well, it's the whole keyboard warrior thing,
Yeah.
Let's be real. To a degree, any one of us could go out there and say whatever we wanted to about anybody. We're doing it behind a computer screen.
This is true.
So you have some sort of protection in that sense. It's no different than people creating random YouTube channels to turn around and make comments on video to support one person or the other. It's the same situation. It's like, I hate the fact that it has to be like this. To me, there's no place for any of this. The only thing I will go on record in saying, the fact of going racial is never the right way to go in any sort of situation at all. That, to me, kind of makes me question your intelligence when you have to go that route. Yeah, I said it. But on the flip side, like I said earlier, there's three sides to every story. There's, each person's side and then the truth. And in some of this stuff, it's hard to know what's the truth. So from that perspective, you kind of have to weed through a lot of it and make your own decisions based on what information is being conveyed, whether you believe it, whether you not. But going racial is never, ever okay. Period. Whether it was supposed to be a freaking, comically type thing, whether it be dark humor or anything along those lines, you're not a comedian first and foremost. So therefore, it's a jab, it's a blow, and not cool, not cool.
No, not at all.
Eric is still here. I'm waiting for him to come out and say he can see your big toe again, Dave, and he's not gonna enjoy it. And outside of that, I'm not going to tell you anything of what we're talking about. Trust me, it's all out there on YouTube. It's on Instagram. Just go look. You will probably find what we're referring to. But outside of that, I'm not going to bring any more attention to it. I'm not going to push people to go watch anything. I'm not giving you the quote unquote details of where to go find the stuff. If you want to know what we're talking about, go look for it. And I'll leave it at that. Very true, LA Pats. Very true.
And how many times, even the people that something's been said that we disagree with, come on here, make us change our minds.
Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one.
Yep.
And everybody's entitled to their opinions. But there's a difference between providing opinions, facts, and then being downright just fucking shit.
Character assassination? No. That is no. We don't go there.
And Jason, I get it. For whatever reason, they felt the need that they needed to come out and say, whatever. I think there's more to it. That's my own personal opinion. But it's one of those in which, if on the flip side, like I said, if you have reached some sort of stardom or on a pedestal and you're going to put yourself out there in that type of situation because of another situation, you better be prepared of what's gonna come your way. Positive, negative, indifferent, wrong, true, false. You got to be ready, man.
That's why those people don't want to see me at the National. If I can concoct a shirt that I'd like to concoct and wear that with my new glasses that I left at Trista's and my new ensemble, I don't think anybody will be left standing. I hurt my feelings all you want. Call me the names. I get being called fat or whatever, or dumb, or I'm an idiot is not even in the same realm of the race wars, but for the certain person, the only thing it feels like, literally the only thing it feels like, it isn't something, I feel pain, I feel hurt, I feel disrespected, I feel marginalized. This particular person, it's something was called out that probably not a lot of folks knew about. Dumb person also brought in the race. If he doesn't bring that in, this the retort is much more, or is much less in the vein of sympathy, trying to gain a sympathetic ear, a sympathetic eye from these fans, viewers, whatever the fuck these dickheads call their legion of plebeian minions. It just, and when you say I'm not going to edit this, and like literally 2 seconds later you see a jump cut, it's like, okay, you can't have transparency immediately followed by lying. You have credibility like an old football stadium being imploded is completely laid to waste. No matter what the subject is, if you can't deliver a straight X amount minute video because, oh, I don't like how it sounded. Maybe I said too many ums. Maybe I prattled and rambled on a bit. Maybe that's what your fans want to see. They want to see a human side. I don't know. I'm not a fan. Hatred towards that general corner of the room. But that's what it feels like. It feels like I made a cataclysmic error many years ago doing something that was intertwined with racial shit that fucking is the lowest low blow you can do. And you're to me, again, opinion right here, it feels like just trying to get the sympathetic vote. Oh, now I'll come clean and sort of give you the Cliff Notes version of what happened. And then we'll go back to the other thing, the bad, the shitty thing, without really delving into this thing. But the old school collectors remember this group on Facebook. Oh man, what great times we had, right? Such great times. Oh, I remember. If you were there, you knew. Yeah, I did some stuff that was bad, but he called me race. You can't, when you start manipulating the feelings of people in a hobby, nonetheless, to garner sympathy for yourself when you fucked up royally and you probably never fully come to grips with that fucking up, with the blame that you need to take to man up and say, yeah, I completely shit the bed on this one. I'm not going to use age as an excuse. I'm not going to be like, well, I had these opportunities. I fucked up. Period. I take ownership of my actions. Period. I wasn't fully transparent with everybody out there. Period. Not excuse, excuse. No. That the other guy, lowest rung, beneath the lowest rung. We know the lowest rung. What's up, DC? He's below that by several rungs in the dirt. This other guy, he's on the same level. Different reasons, Same mindsets with certain things. They think, where are you, hashtag CryptoGriff? There is no hobby hierarchy. And these fuckers think there is. That's why I would love to go to the National. Have my camera people with me. And just flick everybody off and say, you're cancer, you're fucking leukemia, you fucking suck, you're all shit. I hope a fucking shit truck falls on you and you all die. Because you don't bring anything of substance to anybody's life.
Wow, Dave. That's pretty dark, man.
I don't. I get where you want to make money. All these fuckers are lying. Everybody's fucking lying. Constantly. Nobody says, well, I'm going to these shows. Hey man, I'm in New Jersey with fucktard and idiot head and fucking snatch cunt. Wow, how'd you get out there? You don't fucking do anything. Hey, I met some football players at a fucking ski resort. Well, what? How the fuck did you get up there? You don't do nothing.
Just real quick. Did I hear that right earlier? Did I hear snatch cunt used? All right, I was just making sure I wasn't hearing things. Wow.
Paul, did you have that on your bingo card? So all these little fucking human centipede douche nozzles, when they talk about transparency, man, fuck. If you believe them, you know what I've got? I've got oceanfront property in Lake Tahoe to sell ya. Because they're not transparent. Ever. They're transparent like a fucking cooking sheet you put in your oven. So, to button it up, one guy said something that you just don't fucking, you don't dip your toes in that pond, but the other guy, he ain't much better. Again, if you're, I don't know, if your dog dies because you don't put it to a collar and to a tie out, and you go to the Chinese place and it's there, you know what? That's on you. You can't blame everybody and nitpick. Well, that happened there. Hold on. You can't attack what happened. You can't. You can blame people for stuff, but unless you take responsibility for previous actions, no, you shouldn't be pigeonholed in that manner. Racism fucking is stupid. It doesn't build anybody up. It tears everybody down and it divides it. And we've had enough of that for the last how many years? I'm not saying interlock arms across America, but at the same time, let's not have one group interlock arms and the other group fucking run a semi through it. Unless it's me going through Team Schmedium and fucking Good Deals Only and Human Stink Line, then I'm driving the semi. Fuck you guys.
Allegedly.
Not allegedly.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, Dave. Allegedly.
I can't drive a semi anyway, so I fucking the gears of shit. Your grinder, Gary.
In the immortal words of Bill and Ted, just be righteous to each other, people. It would save us a lot of problems. Yeah. This hobby is not meant for any of this crap. It ain't meant to make money. If you want to make money, make money. Don't do it off the bones of somebody else. everybody be cool with each other. We got how many people in here? And it's just like, God almighty. Just how hard is it just to be cool to each other? I mean, I remember that movie, 20 years ago, Bill and Ted came out, and people were like, oh, think about it back now. And you're like, those
30.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
I'm old. Okay.
Probably older, probably like 89.
Yeah. I'm real old. But point being.
Yeah, 1989.
Yeah. So point being, the words are just easy. Just be righteous to everybody, and we won't have this crap because it's just stupid. Stupid. We can all, there's room for everybody in this hobby. Just be cool.
And something to keep in mind. This is a hobby.
Yeah.
It is a hobby. Put that in perspective, folks. This is supposed to be enjoyable for those who are in it for the love of the hobby. Granted, any hobby out there probably has their outliers, their drama, and everything else. I mean, I'm sure we can only speak to our one small niche of the hobby world, so to speak. But, this is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be enjoyable. It's, we don't all have to like each other, but we can all be respectful. We can be polite. Don't have to be genuine, but we can at least be polite and respectful. Whether we like you, dislike you, hate your guts, wish you'd go play in traffic, whatever. Doesn't matter. With that, Dave, I think you can wrap us up for the evening.
Tie a bow on it, Dave. Tie a bow on
it. So thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. Obviously, again, great conversation all the way through. Thanks for chatting it up. Interjecting always helps us sort of bridge comments, or bridge topics. Later, Jason. We can't do this without you. Plain and simple. We'll say it. We'll readily admit it. Take care, Josh. We're not going to be above you. We're all in this together, fighting for the same hobby outcome. So continue to join us. I promise you will not be disappointed. Again, if you know what we bring to the table, you will not be disappointed. If you are disappointed, you're a first-time viewer. I'm sorry.
That's still subjective, though, Dave.
Well, if people have stuck with us for a year and a half, and now all of a sudden they're disappointed, they're blind and deaf. I'm sorry. That. I don't know why.
I can't argue against that, Dave.
No. So with that, he's Vinny. That's Steve. I'm Dave. This has been the Insert Revolution podcast. Remember, send us money. Crypto. Join our OnlyFans Discord, Patreon, Super Chat. Burlap sacks with money. That's it. I want it. Give me a money tree. Others have it. How the fuck do I not have it? Make it happen. You can do it. You happen. Remember, collecting cards, absolutely wonderful. The friendships that we forge in this hobby, what it's really about. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.